You're sitting in a room in your own house and your Wi-Fi bars are basically non-existent. A video call keeps freezing, a page won't load, and you already restarted the router and moved a little closer, but it's still just not reliable. Here's the good news. This is one of the most common home network complaints out there, and in almost every single case, it comes down to a handful of specific, fixable causes, not a rare or expensive problem. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how to fix it, starting with the free changes and working up from there. Let's also start with a quick way to actually diagnose what you're dealing with, because it helps to know whether this is a true signal problem or something else entirely. Plug a laptop directly into your modem with an Ethernet cable and run a speed test. Then disconnect that cable and run the exact same test over Wi-Fi in the same room. And finally, repeat that Wi-Fi test in the room where the signal feels weak. If your wired speed is strong but Wi-Fi in the same room is noticeably worse, that points to a router or wireless issue rather than your actual internet connection. And if the signal drops off significantly as you move to that problem room, you've confirmed it really is a coverage issue tied to distance or obstruction, which tells you exactly which fixes below are worth focusing on first. Let's start with the single biggest factor, and that's router placement. A huge number of people shove their router into a cabinet, a corner, or tuck it behind the TV to keep it out of sight, but that placement alone can dramatically weaken your signal. Move your router to a central, elevated spot in your home, ideally on a shelf or table roughly chest height rather than sitting on the floor. And keep it away from thick walls, metal filing cabinets, mirrors, aquariums, and large appliances, since all of these physically reflect or block the signal. If you're in a multi-story home, positioning the router on a main or upper floor tends to help the signal spread downward more evenly rather than trying to push it up through multiple floors. While you're adjusting placement, take a look at the antennas if your router has external ones. Point them straight up for the most even, all-directional coverage. If your router has internal antennas instead, try rotating or tilting the whole unit slightly. Sometimes a simple 45-degree turn genuinely makes a noticeable difference in a specific room that's been struggling. Next, do a proper restart of both your modem and your router, not just a quick power cycle. Actually unplug both, wait about 30 seconds, then plug the modem back in first and give it a minute before plugging the router back in too. This clears out a lot of hidden glitches that build up over time and can quietly degrade your connection. And honestly, making this a weekly habit rather than something you only do when things break tends to keep your network running noticeably smoother. From there, check whether your router's firmware is up to date, since manufacturers regularly release firmware updates that include bug fixes and performance improvements you're simply missing out on if you never update. Log into your router settings, usually through a browser by typing in the router's IP address or through the manufacturer's app if you have one, and look for a firmware update option. Many modern routers can even be set to update automatically, so you never have to think about it again. If you're in an apartment building or a densely packed neighborhood, Wi-Fi channel congestion is a huge factor worth checking, since a lot of nearby routers can end up broadcasting on the exact same channel, causing interference that weakens everyone's signal. Free apps like Wi-Fi Analyzer on Android or built-in tools on iOS let you scan for nearby networks and see which channels are the most crowded, and switching your router to a quieter, less congested channel through its settings can noticeably improve stability. While you're in there, if your router supports both 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz bands, use 5 GHz for devices that are close to the router and need more bandwidth, like a laptop or a streaming device, since that band offers faster speeds at shorter range, and reserve 2.4 GHz for devices further away, since that band travels further through walls even though it's a bit slower. It's also worth double-checking your network password is actually strong and locked down, since an unsecured or weak password can let unwanted neighbors quietly connect to your network and eat up your bandwidth without you ever realizing it, which absolutely can present as your Wi-Fi just being mysteriously weak or slow. It's also worth taking a look at how many devices are actually connected to your network at any given time, since a household packed with phones, laptops, smart speakers, security cameras, and streaming devices can genuinely overload an older router, even when the signal itself looks fine on paper. Most router apps or admin panels let you see a full list of connected devices, and if you spot something unfamiliar, that's worth investigating too, since it could be a neighbor who found their way onto your network. Many modern routers also include a setting called Quality of Service, or QoS, which lets you prioritize certain types of traffic. So if video calls or gaming are what matters most to you, enabling QoS and bumping those up in priority can make a noticeable difference in responsiveness even without touching your actual signal strength. Now, if you've done all of that and you're still dealing with a genuine dead zone in a specific part of your home, a bedroom upstairs, a garage, a basement, that's usually a coverage problem that free tweaks alone can't fully solve, since thick walls and sheer distance are physical limitations that placement and channel changes can only help with at the margins. This is where Wi-Fi extenders, Powerline adapters, or a Mesh Wi-Fi system come in. A simple extender or power line adapter can work well for smaller homes with just one or two weak spots, but for a larger house or multiple floors, a proper mesh system where you place 2 or 3 coordinated units strategically around your home tends to give far more consistent coverage throughout. And using a wired Ethernet connection between those mesh units where possible, rather than relying purely on wireless backhaul, will squeeze out even better performance. Speaking of Ethernet, for any device that stays in one place and doesn't need to be wireless, a TV, a gaming console, a desktop computer, running an actual Ethernet cable to it takes that device off Wi-Fi entirely, giving it a rock-solid connection with zero wireless interference, and freeing up bandwidth for everything else in your home that does need to stay wireless. Finally, if your router is genuinely old, we're talking 4 or 5 years or more, it's worth seriously considering an upgrade, since newer Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6E routers handle multiple connected devices significantly better than older hardware, and most homes in 2026 have far more connected devices, phones, laptops, smart speakers, cameras, than they did just a few years ago, so older routers can genuinely struggle to keep up regardless of how well you optimize everything else. And if you've worked through every single one of these, placement, restarting, firmware, channel congestion, band selection, password security, and you're still not getting a reliable signal even close to your router, it might not actually be your Wi-Fi setup at all. It could be your internet plan or your provider. So it's worth contacting them directly to check your actual speeds and see if a higher tier or a different connection type is available in your area. If this helped boost your Wi-Fi and finally kill those dead zones, drop a like. It really helps this channel out. And if you want more practical home tech fixes like this one, go ahead and subscribe because there's plenty more coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.